So let's get slowly started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our project talk. My name is Martina Huemann, and I'm professor at WU Vienna. And I'm also director of the professional MBA Project Management. And I'm very happy that you all are joining us for this interesting topic. We will spend about 1 hour on talking about digitalization and project management. And I'm also very happy and that we have Alfred Steinwender here as our guest. Alfred, you are from Raiffeisen Informatics. Thank you for joining. And yeah, you have a very strong project management and organizational development background, if I may say that. And we have known each other for quite some while now. And you had some very interesting times in your company lately, going through a major agile transformation. And you're now head of the delivery unit and UNIQA and management board member in Raiffeisen Slovakia and Slovenia. And so very warm welcome, very happy that we have you here. And people are dropping in and just waiting for a little bit more to come. Alfred, do you want to kind of say 2-3 words for introducing yourself also?
Well, yeah, thank you very much, Martina. It's really a pleasure for me to be part of this event today. As you already said, we know us already, I believe, around, well, 20 years or 25 years already. My entire career was in IT companies, just that you have a little bit of background from my person, starting in telecommunication companies, then high-tech companies, and now I am with Raiffeisen Informatik for already 15 years. In various positions of organizational development, internal project, external projects, for a couple of years, head of project management, and I believe that we will come back to this time in particular, and of course, since beginning of this year, as part of this reorganization, it was actually an HR transformation, this transformation process. We are now in a complete new structure. We have changed our organization in an agile setup. And now I'm leading this development unit for RBI Group and UNIQA, which is also some interesting aspects. We come to the one or the other aspect, because project management means also adapting to the specific customer. And there are, of course, some differences between the RBI and RBI Group and UNIQA, and maybe we can also get a little bit closer then in the discussion to this or the other points. So I'm really looking forward. I'm happy to be here. So let's start.
Happy to have you here. And I really want us to also get in dialogue with our audience. And so let's find out who is here. We have prepared a couple of Slido questions. And for all that are now listening to us, please take your mobile phone and join us at Slido. You see the code here. So Slido is slido.com. And join us here. And I would really like to know who is here. So first question, what projects are you familiar with? So there's IT projects, change projects, construction engineering, consulting, product and service development. Also other projects you see. And we are happy to know who is listening to us. There are quite many people in IT projects. And the rest is very spread over the place, I would say. So thank you for this. And okay, a little bit more. Okay, product and service development. So a little bit more here too. And let's move to the next question. What roles do you have in these projects? Yeah, also a very nice mix. Most of us, not surprisingly, are of course project managers here, but we also have quite a lot of project team members. Maybe you're interested in developing into a project manager, and we also have some project owners and here in this room. So thank you for providing this overview to us who is here. And yeah, for me, project management and digitalization has two relations. The first relation is that project management is driving digital transformation. And I think this is a very major relation. As project managers, you are creating the future. And I really believe in that. By doing projects, by helping organizations to change, especially now when we're talking about digitalization, you are creating the future for this organization. You are creating the competitive advantage, the long time advantage of the organization to also stay in the market. That's the first connection. And the other connection is that, of course, project management will also change because of digitalization. There is very different tools and digital infrastructure that is available, and that changes also project management. And Alfred, I wonder how you see that in your company, how you experience that and project managers experience that in your company.
Of course, this is a view from a very specific IT company. Raiffeisen Informatik is the data center of the Raiffeisen Banking Group and UNIQA Insurance. So maybe this is a little bit different than in other areas, companies in other business areas. So that's something what we need to keep in our mind. But I believe in our company, and in particular the project manager at Raiffeisen Informatik, they take it very positive, this way into a digital area. Michael Zettel from Accenture said once that the digitalization is the end of wasting time. And if we are taking this to project management, that means wasting time, reducing these administrational issues, which in fact, not really the project manager are in favor of. So they see this as a chance rather more as the risks, which are there for sure as well. But this is not so surprising. I mean, if we're taking that we're talking about an IT company, if you're not really in favor of IT, then you're not joining an IT company like Raiffeisen Informatik. And as most probably everybody knows, that there is a big transformation process ongoing in the banking area towards digitalization. We want to make all our banking transaction, meanwhile, on a digital platform, either in these electronic banking applications or whatever. So if we think this, or if we prolong this a little bit, that means for us that at the end of this process, a banking transaction is an IT transaction. So from this perspective, we can only see this as a very positive development. And so the project managers are seeing this as a very positive development, because new, very innovative projects are coming up throughout the line. But again, as I already said, yes, there are big opportunities for us, but we should not forget about all the risks. Digitalization are also bringing us some risks, which we probably also will discuss during this event a little bit more in detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are very much now talking about the IET context.
Absolutely.
I would like to also draw our attention on the construction engineering context. because what has developed here over the last years is digital infrastructure called building information modeling. And building information modeling is bringing a revolution to this industry, to construction industry, because now people need to really work together on a project. Yeah? So having shared plans where it's very clear how the layout of a house, of a building, whatever you're constructing, is done, but also having shared project management plans, having a shared scheduling and cost planning and everything here together in one platform, that really brings transparency and traceability. And of course, it does not come without challenges to the established contracts that are currently still here on the market and running. So it really brings a major shift towards collaboration. And I would say that traditional industries like construction engineering, they might not be used that easily to that type of collaboration and transparency. So I'm just using this as another example, as Alfred will be very much talking about IT projects. And Alfred, when it now comes to digital infrastructure as tools for managing projects in the IT context, what do you see here? What developments can you share with us?
I mean, in IT company, or people in IT companies, they are anyway very much in favor of using tools and digital infrastructure. So, and in particular in these days when we are talking about all these COVID effects, we are using this digital infrastructure every day. We have done this already prior to the COVID area, and of course we are doing this much more now intensive in projects and in all our daily life, business life. In particularly, we have collaboration tools which we are using now very intensively. Talking about Teams, Rooms, SharePoint infrastructures. Zoom, of course, as we are now using this Zoom collaboration tool, but also we are using more and more digital boards like Kanban boards in our collaboration tools. Is in the ServiceNow environment for our customers is Mojara, which they are using here. Some of those we have used already in the years before, but nowadays it's a must to use this in projects. So yes, the tools are there. So it's not a problem of the tools anymore. We have the tools here available. We just need to use them. And what we can see is that using these tools, there is the other side, it's the human side of the story. It is, of course, in some aspects easier if you have a face-to-face contact, if you do not have everything in communication over collaboration IT tools. Even we are very much in favor of playing with these new tools. So we should not forget project management is a human discipline. We are talking about leading people. We are talking about collaborating human beings with each other. Where we definitely see a big advantage of using digital infrastructure is the project portfolio management. If we have all this data which are spread it around, which are available, to consolidate these data, bringing this in a kind of a report where the management can make really quick decisions, having standardized project reports, having standardized portfolio management reports, where we are not so much spending our time in discussing about the quality of data, more in what can we do with it. So what can we take out of it, which decision can we make, which has to be made on it. So on the project portfolio area, we see definitely a big step forward by using digital infrastructure. On project area, of course, there are a lot of advantages, but we always have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, we should not forget the human side of project management.
Yeah, I totally agree especially when it comes to project portfolio management, and you have all the projects in your portfolio and need to do now strategic decisions. It's very nice to be able to have the data, to be able to visualize the data in a project portfolio group, and to use this as the decision tool to make good decisions. And from a single project perspective, what I would like to add here is I also like the history of data, yeah, because if you have done similar projects over the last years, so you can draw on the data and just know how long different work packages will take and where the challenges lay. But for doing that, it's of course also necessary that you collect the data and you make it available and you make it discussable. So as you say, it's not only about the data, because data is just data. Yeah, it's about how you deal with the data. Yeah, so for me, there's this saying, information is the difference that makes a difference. Yeah, and so we need to transfer data into an information. Data becomes information if it is in a context. And so to take out the data and put it into the context and talk about it, this is then the difference, and this is how we can then deal and probably make better and more efficient decisions. I'm now wondering what tools are known here in our audience, and we'll go back to our pool. And the next question, therefore, is which digital tools do you apply in your projects? Yes, you can several. So which digital tools do you apply in projects? We have heard several from Alfred. I think Jira, ServiceNow are the ones that are most commonly applied. Okay, SAP, yeah. So for me, there's a little bit of a differentiation here. Yeah, so the one are kind of really project management tools where you can collect the data, where you also are supported with the planning, and the other ones are the collaboration tools. Yeah, so what I really like to apply in teams, and I'm myself leading teams in the research context. And what we there apply is very often whiteboard solutions like Mural or Miro, and to support also creative processes that come with that. So what I also have done now in the past is, or recently, if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said it's not possible to really lead design processes, design thinking processes via these different tools. Yeah, so you can see we have kind of a quite variety here. And the next question to you is, there's also different project approaches. And we have traditional waterfall approach, we have agile, hybrid approaches, but we also can see blended approaches. Yeah, so blended approaches would mean that you combine Scrum and Kanban. Yeah, Scrumban. Yeah, so that's, I think this is a new development that is around, and so it's quite interesting how these approaches are further developed and just applied in a quite pragmatic way very often. And I would like to know this overview, what you're familiar with, because the next question for us is, does it make a difference whether we work traditional, hybrid, or agile when it comes to the tooling? Alfred, what do you think?
Well, first of all, it appears that still the traditional project management is in the lead. which is also very interesting. So the agile hype is not everywhere already familiar in the companies. Yes, well, as we said at the beginning, we talked about, or I mentioned also that we in FS Informatic had a big transformation process the last 2 years. And this is also has affected the project management without any doubts. But the reason for starting this transformation process were in particular in that we see that the market has changed, that the demand of the customer has changed. On the one side, that they are demanding a much quicker reaction from us. Software has to be deployed in a very faster way as years ago, as everybody knows. And on the other side, also the customers are changing. If we see in particular my two customers there and the Raiffeisen Bank International had also their HR transformation process 2 years before we started. UNIQA are now discussing how they are going to adapt their way of working and structure. So when we started 2 years ago, asking what should we do in order to fulfill these different demands from the customer side, we talked about how HR can we be. We started and say, well, let's start an HR transformation process. And 2 years ago, we said we will do everything HR at the end of the day. But we are not a software company. I mean, we are a data center company. A lot of employees said, well, we will never be HR, because how can you make your server deployment processes HR? We always do it traditionally, or how should we make our mainframe processes in an HR way? We did this for 30, 40 years, no way. So a lot of resistance from the people at the beginning, a lot of critical questions along the line. But more and more we have recognized that talking about traditional HR, hybrid or whatever, this is just a selection of methods. The basis what we have is of course an HR mindset, and this is not contradictory with traditional methods. So talking about HR value systems, this is this you can use in various different methods. The methods is just a question of what is in this or that particular situation the best way to do it. It's from a content perspective, of course, but also from a customer perspective. Talking about HR methodologies means a complete other role for the customer. They are sharing with us the project risks, and in some cases they say, no, you are the experts, you take it all. We can describe in the best way in our problems what we have. We can even do not tell you what is the solution. So then we have another situation. So what we end up now in our organization is that we have an HR transformation based on HR value system, but it should be possible to use all kind of methodologies, traditional methodology, hybrid, as well as HR. And also, as Martina said, blend, I believe the word was blended, to combine different HR methodologies. As Scrum is something which we are in various different projects very often use, because the people, the project teams see that this is the right way to work with, or to collaborate also with our partners and our customers. So everything should be possible. The problem is, of course, to get a common understanding, so common interfaces. How can a traditional project work together with an HR project? So there we made the experience that we really need to have to standardize the interfaces. For example, reporting. I mean, you need to have a common base where the project portfolio management then can go on top of it and say, then now we are collaborating, consolidating the different data in order to make these project portfolio management reports. But to a certain extent, we need to give the people the freedom to choose the way they would like to collaborate, and they see that this is the right way because they're responsible for a project result. And if you just tell them how they should work, they will tell you, well, then it's your responsibility if this is now successful or not. Talking about empowerment of people in project management needs also to give them the power to choose the right methodology, which also means that we have to train them in all the various different methodologies so that they can really be able to select the right methodologies. What we do in this perspective, we are using HR coaches, which can coach internally the teams and project teams in order to select the right methodology. But this is something kind of a support on the long way. That means that people should be familiar with all kinds of methodologies in order to be able to make this important decision on their own.
Yeah, would you see a difference here actually, or is it all about collaboration? Yeah, it doesn't matter whether we are now using traditional or more HLI approaches. I would see it at least that way, but seeing it from the collaboration infrastructure that this is necessary, yeah, and seeing it from the perspective of the context we are in, that many projects had to move into a remote and virtual environment from 1 second to the other last year. I could see that many project managers and the project teams that just did a gorgeous job to do it. And it was less difficult for running teams to do it. What I saw was very difficult for new projects to get started, because I think when it comes to virtual collaboration, we still need to have a little bit of smell and taste and feeling and social contact to know also where we stand in the team and with who we are working together. And so onboarding of new team members or starting up new projects, that is still quite a challenge to have that going. I think also part of it is because you want to adapt to a certain culture. You are creating a certain culture on the project, the way how we're working together here. And if this is established already, I think the shift into a virtual world was not so difficult, but to establish that common understanding and common culture of how we work together when we have not the possibility of meeting, I still see many project managers challenged with that. And from my teams, I'm working international with research groups. I see also this urge for small talk. Yeah, easy small talk, just talking a little bit. Yeah, this is and actually we give now possibility for that. Yeah, so I plan in my meetings, I plan some time for just being able to small talk at the beginning. Yeah, just tell a little bit, just have some informal talks, and I think that helps. Yeah, that helps because we are spending so much time just in front of the computer, just working, just in working mode, talking with others about our work. So there's absolutely also the need to talk about different things with other people. Yes, this is what I can share and what I can see that that is my experience in how collaboration now is going in projects and how that could be supported. But I was really wondering, and Alfred, the question to you, does it make a difference for the tooling support, whether a project follows a traditional or an agile approach?
You mentioned also this kind of team building processes, which is extremely important in project without any doubts. Does it make a difference? Yes, of course. Our experiences there are differences, and in particular in these extraordinary situations what we were in the last years. HR teams were much better prepared for a crisis situation. What we could see, traditional projects had a hard time adapting their structure. remote collaboration means also a certain trust level in the teamwork, and these are all HR values which needs to be practiced in the teams. So I would probably I need to correct a little bit myself. Maybe it's not that much differences on the methodologies, but it depends on the values what you're practicing in your team. If you are using these kind of HR value system characterized by trust, empowerment, and things like that, then you can build on this the methodologies what you need. But the basis is an HR value system understanding. When we think a little bit what happened last year in March, when we get into this COVID crisis, when we switched over from one day after the other in a kind of remote collaboration system, this was for sure a huge challenge, and nobody knew what will happen. I mean, we talked over years this kind of new work. How will it be when we are all in a kind of remote or hybrid cooperation system? And from one day after the other, we were there. And I can remember my managing director in March last year asked me every day, what's about the projects? Do the projects stop now? And I reported him every day and said, no, the projects are going along, except of two of them, because two of them, they had the necessity to go to the customer, to their offices, which was not possible at that point of time. But all the other projects, they were without any problems, they proceeded. And even more, we recognized that the project collaboration, so when we come to task tracking, or so where you had already planned your project and you can fulfill your project and control your project, this worked very, very efficient. The people were even more focused on the project, so on the task what they are doing. And as Martina said, the challenges is, of course, starting a new project. I mean, in the beginning, in lockdown 1, we didn't start any new project. But soon we recognized and said, well, we need to go further. We need to start now new projects because others ended already. And then we realized that it's not everything so easy as we saw it in the first stage, because this team building process is, of course, a huge problem. And imagine, I mean, we did at the same time an HR transformation of the whole company. We did it online. So we created a new organizational structure. We had our go live by 1st of January. Still, up to now, I haven't seen all my employees live. So even the teams, we are now starting putting some smaller teams, or bringing them back in the office so that they can see each other, that they can feel each other. We can exchange information very easy over the technologies what we have, but transferring emotions, transforming really the as I said before, this human side of collaboration is extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult to onboard new team members, and if you're starting a project, typically you're onboarding all new people new in a project so that they can they need to be setting up a new working environment, and this first stage is extremely difficult. So what we think at the moment is that we need to find a way also for the future, so for the post-COVID area, where we will have a mix of it. So maybe we will have a period of time in the beginning of the project where the people will much more on-site in the office until they have reached a certain level of collaboration, a maturity level, and then they can go back in their home offices, seeing that they can work through the project. And at a certain point of time, for example, to having their retrospectives or review processes, they're coming back, meeting together and collaborating. So it's a way, it's a mixture of going into the offices, collaborating with each other, and staying at home, working through the tasks. This is something what we see will be the future at the end of the day in our post-COVID area.
Mm-hmm. This is where we stand now, Alfred, and I'm very much interested what does the future hold for project management. And I think a buzzword is artificial intelligence here. Mm-hmm. And I have this picture of the project manager that is accompanied by a little robot, and is kind of who is doing all the administrative stuff. Yeah, so as a project manager, you are able to concentrate on the people, on the stakeholders, and so on. So what do you think about artificial intelligence and applications? How will they change project management?
That would be, of course, nice. If we think about this, to having a little kind of assistant robot close to us, who is doing all these paperwork and all these minutes, what we anyway do not like as project manager. I know this from my time where I was leading a project. This is something which I did, of course, because I had to, but this was not in my favor, of course. They are talking about artificial intelligence, all these data analytics possibilities. Of course, all these things are not new. I mean, talking about artificial intelligence, this is a discipline for 50 years. It's pure mathematics, but the technology was not there. So today we have the technologies, we have the computer capacities, which we can really use, taking use of it. And the question is not about the data, as we said already. There are a lot of data there, but the question is more, which data do we need? It's a kind of more the intelligent side of the story. So how we can develop or taking advantage of the data in our everyday decision processes, in order to make faster decisions, in order to look a little bit ahead in the future, talking about what could it be, what consequences has this or that decision. This is something where data analytics can really provide us a big advantage, of course. And on the other side, talking about, and I come back again to it in kind of reporting or project portfolio reporting, or even on a project level, to get personalized reports, because it is different. If I am a project manager, I need to get some specific reports managing my project. If I am a project sponsor, I need to get other information in another way, maybe also on another level. But from the same content, so looking to the project from a different perspective. So these are things where I think there are huge opportunities. First of all, to get quicker analytics in order to make faster decisions. And on the second, to get personalized my reports in order to not to have, again, reports and reports over reports, and don't see it in the world anymore. Now we have too many data available. As Martina said, building a bridge from the data to information, so that we can really make the decision then on the specific project or on the specific portfolio. This is a huge advantage. But I'm fully aware of talking about artificial intelligence. This scares people. I mean, of course, people are thinking about, do they replace me at the end of the day? Is it that this kind of small robot which is sitting beside me is not only making my reports, at the end of the day, he will replace me as a project manager? Maybe we have seen too many movies, Hollywood movies, where we see all these future scenarios. But which are possibly not going into the right direction. So yes, there are some development or fears and doubts from people which we have to take care of. But in general, I think the advantages and the opportunities what we have on the artificial intelligence and data analytics are huge more as the risk what we are facing.
I would say everything that can be standardized and automated will be automated in the future. Yeah, and then looking into application possibilities, and some of them are already here. Yeah, so they're not kind of far future, but they're already here. Chatbot solutions where you where the new team members can learn health and safety regulations very easily. Yeah, so personalized training education on the project, for understanding specific parts of the project. Yeah, so for training purposes, these chatbot solutions, they are not future, they are already here and they are applied in projects. What I can see in stakeholder management is also quite some nice digitalization possibilities. So I would say that digitalization here is also a change maker. Yeah? It's also already here and not so much the future, is to use virtual Googles and have the project team members or the future users, let's put it that way, the future users of an infrastructure go through this infrastructure. We are doing a case with a hospital in Finland. It's a quite pretty case study. I got very much attracted to that case because they are using this mechanism or these new tools like VR, Googles to actually include the nurses and the doctors. And it's not so much building a new hospital, but it's more or less also rebuilding and redesigning the organizational processes they are running in the future hospital. Yeah? And for that, it's not so much about kind of deciding the color of the furniture there. Yeah, this is where we are further to that, but it's about talking about new processes, how they can organize when they're doing a surgery, for instance, and how that will mean how the building needs to be adapted or built to better support that. And so I think there's a lot of these applications already around and existing. Another application I also find quite fancy is in Brussels. They are building a ring road, and for that, and this has to do with the building information modeling I was mentioning before. They have the model of the street, yeah, already. So they had this very nice idea to just turning that into a video game, yeah, and inviting people that are living there to just try out. I imagine this is like in Mario Kart, and just try out the new streets, how that will feel, and also provide them a little bit with feedback. So I think there's a lot of these new technologies and application possibilities around that especially will bring stakeholders closer to the projects and will allow us also for more value creation by really taking the end user seriously and not kind of keeping the end user out of the project, but including the end user and really working with the end user in a virtual environment to understand the needs and expectations. Yeah, I'm just changing now to the questions again. We have 2 more to go. And the next question in the pool is, how will artificial intelligence change project management in your mind? Yeah, you can just put the sentence, the phrase here. What do you think? How will artificial intelligence change project management? Yeah, give it a thought. We were sharing some ideas already. Okay, not so much in the next years. That's one answer.
Well,
so
we'll see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that really depends on the project type we are talking about. Yeah. Okay, so project management about things that cannot be automated. I think all this administrative stuff, the scheduling, and even also when it comes to construction projects, the logistics, this is things that can be automated and that will be automated. But I totally also agree that project manager, and this is why I say it's a profession also for the future. Yeah, so I'm not fearing that there will be no project managers anymore in the future, but they will do different tasks. They will more support the project team. Yeah, there will be more servant leaders. They will, in my understanding, become more designers. And what I mean with project designers, I mean was that as a project manager, you're designing the project management process. You're designing also the relationships with the stakeholders, with the people on the project, and that will be very core. Yeah, and doing more and better scheduling. That will probably be done by a machine, yeah, and supported by digital tools quite a lot. But I agree that many project management, and maybe we can coin it rather project leadership, or as I was now coining it, project design tasks. This is something where it will probably at least take another 20, 30 years from now on, when we can have that done by somebody else than a human. Not saying that this is absolutely impossible, but I would not fear that would happen so easily and so quickly.
Probably I can take the last statement. It will save time, and I fully agree with this. Yes, it will save time in the reporting, for example. My big hope is that we are not spending so much time anymore collecting different data in our project reporting. The project manager would like to see the project manager interpreting the data, but not collecting the data in the one or the other tool. There we can really do a big step forward. If we really can automate project management, yes, in the regular task, maybe that's something with still a little bit of hope of it. Other things, as Martina said, is more related to the human side again. And the human interaction, of course, this is something which is absolutely big issue for the project manager. We should spend much more time on this, motivating the people, doing their task, seeing that things are going in the right direction. But for this purpose, I would like to have more time available for the project manager and keep them away from sitting behind a computer collecting some data for their project reporting stuff. The other thing is also what we are testing a little bit in Raiffeisen Informatik is risk management. The risk management is still very much related to the personal opinion of the project manager, how he can judge this or how he thinks things will happen. We would like to change this a little bit more based on real facts and figures, so that we can get some interpretation already from machines. How, where do we see some risk, compare this project compared maybe with other projects, learning from other projects, in getting these personalized reports to the project manager, so that he can look at it and say, well, am I as the other projects and I need to take care about this or that area, or am I completely different and I am out of this the normal way of running these projects. So there we see some possibilities, supporting the project manager with some data analytics for bringing additional quality in the project management discipline. No, we will not replace him. This is for sure not. I fully agree with this, as Martina said. We will not have this kind of little robot as project managers at the end of the day. We will change their role, at the end of the day. Martina said a servant leader. Yeah, we do not need any more project managers. We need project leaders at the end of the day. These needs also additional skills. So we have to train them in order to become this leadership style. But we need to take them away a little bit of this hard stuff of management. This is something which where we have possibilities for sure. We can replace them with some, or support them with some data analytic, artificial intelligence stuff. So there is a chance, from my perspective, for making the life easier or better. Easier, it's a little bit depending on how you see it from which side, but at least to free them a little bit, to get some more capacity of the project manager so that he can really focus on the right way on leading a project, leading people, and not so much spending the time for reporting and all this administration stuff.
Yeah, actually, that leads to the next question to to our audience. What is the major competence of the project manager? What do you think? What is the major competence of the future project manager? Alfred and we were very much talking about leadership, and I was coining it as designer. Yeah, so in the ICP International Competence Baseline for Zero, there is also a competence element which is called project design. Yeah, so designing projects, and this is for me kind of an element that has not been considered so comprehensively yet. Yeah, but this is about the project manager who is really able to not only design the project organization, but also the process, how we are working together. Yeah, how long do we need for the team development? Yeah, how long do we, what project management methods do we take? Do we work agile? Do we work hybrid? Do we combine Scrum with Kanban? How do we do that? Yeah. So for me, these are all design elements you need to combine, and only the combination makes it successful for you as a project manager. And this is what I'm kind of referring as one of the competences that I think a project manager will need in the future even more, and that is being a designer. Yeah. But let's see what you have said here. So the biggest one is digital tools. Yeah. Alfred, do you see something that is?
Yeah, well, my interpretation is a lot of things what we talked about, a lot of things apart from technical skills and digital tools. These are pure technical disciplines, but a lot of human and leadership styles. Leadership itself, stakeholder engagement, organizational skills, communication. Yeah, we need to learn different communication styles. We need to be much more flexible in the way adapting our way of work. These are something which I can totally agree with. Managing virtual resources is something which I believe we have experienced the last 12, 14 months very intensively. What does it mean? Having not these kind of small coffee break talks in the corridors, you need to have to organize everything, and how difficult this is in the virtual way to exchange these kind of small talks. Yeah, these are things we need to be more creative. And a project manager also needs to be much more creative in these days in order to change their way of working, change their collaboration style, because all the customers are different, all the people are different. And I think there are huge competences what we are demanding now from the project managers in the future. Really management skills, absolutely management skills.
Yeah, and I think here it's very clear also what the audience says, social skills. Yeah, for me, this is central. for any project manager, any project leader who have the social skills. And this is also why a robot will not be able so easily to substitute you as a human, as a project manager. Yeah. So I think this is what is the good news. This is what is the good news on project management. I can see that project management is absolutely booming. Yeah, project managers are in very high demand, and this is will be a profession of the future. Yeah, this is what do you think, Alfred? How is the future for the project manager?
When you asked me this question, I remember the discussion what we had last year when in our HR transformation process, when my project manager asked me, well, will we have project managers in the future? Are we going to replace us with product owners, scrum masters, or whatever we are now have implemented in our organization? And we had a discussion also with our top management, our managing director, and the answer was simply, well, we will have projects and we will have project managers for a simple reason, because the customer wants it. Customer want to have a single point of contact. Customer want to have somebody who is really feeling in charge of project delivery. And as long as the customer says, this something which makes sense, there's a value to have this person in charge of a project, we always will have it. So what it means now, and what I said also to my people, to my project managers, so we have to make our value transparent to our customer. Why do we need to have projects? Why can we put not everything into the operation area? And there is a certain reason, because they are investigating a lot of money. They're putting a lot of money on our table, and we need to take care about it. We need to show them that their investment really brings a business value for them. And this is something which you can do best in a project setup. So yes, of course, the project management will stay. It will get, from my perspective, even more important, because there are huge investments in front of us when we talk about digitalizing our world. So we will have projects and we will have project managers, but we will have these kind of role in a different setup with different skills. As we said, there is a big advantage or a challenge getting these new skills, learning new practices, learning the human side of project management in a much broader perspective.
Yeah, thank you, Alfred. I think these are wonderful words at the end. We would also give an opportunity to the audience to ask us the one or the other question.